In this video, we're going to learn how to solve this simple math problem. In a way, it is very similar to the very famous past PSLE question, the semicircles problem. If you are not familiar with the semicircles problem, you can go to the link that is given below and learn how to solve that problem. If you have two semicircles and you split them apart, right, the gap on the right hand side is equal to the gap on the left hand side. Right? It doesn't matter how you split them. Right? But in our problem here, we are dealing with a slightly different case. We have a semicircle at the top and a quarter circle or a quadrant at the bottom. Right? So let's change the radius to 20 to make it easier. Right? So let's see what happens if I were to split them. Right? So you will notice that the so-called gap on the left and the right hand side actually remains the same, but the gap on the left hand side, right, is measured from the center. Right? It is not measured from the edge of the semicircle here. All right? Because if you were to measure the length from the edge from this edge, it has to include the radius. Right? That is why we have this r plus 7. 7 is the gap and r is the radius. You get 27. Right? So let's increase the gap and see that that is the pattern. Right? So what about shifting it the other way around? Right? Again, you can see that it is true that the gap measured from the center is the same as the gap on the right hand side. Right? But if you are interested in this length only, let's say in our problem, because we are going to find the perimeter, we are not interested in this part, but we are interested only in this part. We have to take into account the radius. So for this case, when we shift the quadrant towards the left, then this length is equal to the radius minus the gap, 8, equal to 12. So now we are ready to solve our problem. Right, so there are two cases here. Right? The first case is the quadrant is being shifted towards the right, and the second one, a similar case, but the quadrant is being shifted to the left. Right? In both cases, the radius of the circles are 8 centimeter. Right? We are required to find the perimeter. Right? So the first thing that we can do is to find the curve length first. Right? Let's find the curve length first. So for the curve part, we have a semicircle, which is half of a full circle, and we have this quarter circle, which is 1/4 of a full circle. Right? So this is actually equal to 2/4 plus 1/4. In other words, it is 3/4. Right? So for the curve length, it is 3/4 of a circle multiplied by pi multiplied by 2 times 8, because 8 is the radius. Right, so it is 3/4 multiplied by 3.14 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 8. Right, we can take our calculator and find out what's the value. I think we're going to get 37.68. Right, so for the first case, we have just learned that the gap measured from the center, which is about here, should be the same as the gap on the right hand side. All right, but here there is the radius, so we have to add 8 plus 4 there, and this is the radius 8. Right, so for the line, right, we're going to get 8 plus 4 plus 8 plus 4. Right, so this is 24. Right, so the perimeter is equal to 37.68 plus 24. Right, I believe this will be 61.68. The gap is now 5, so we know that with respect to the center, which is about here, this is 5. Right? But since the radius, let's say from here to here, is 8, So we know that this part is 8 minus 5 or 3. Right, so here this part, the vertical part is still 8 because that is the radius. So now what is the lines? We have 3 plus 8 plus 5. Now there's something interesting here which I like to pause. You will notice that if I were to rearrange this, 3 plus 5 plus 8, you will notice that 3 plus 5 is actually the radius. Right, so actually for this particular case, the straight lines is actually twice the radius, right? But doesn't matter. It is something of interest for you to take note of. So this is 16, right? So what is the perimeter for this case? It will be 16 plus the curved part which you have calculated earlier, 37.68, right? We are going to get 53.68. So it's practice time now. Go to the link that is given below. Just take note that when you click on the new problem button, it will alternate between the two cases. Right? This is the quarter circle shifted to the right hand side. When you click, it will be shifted to the left hand side. Okay guys, so have fun and thank you for listening.